Hello and welcome to Netflix versus Cinema. I have one question for you. Big stream or big stream? I just said the same thing twice. Big stream or big screen? Which one are you going to spend your money on? Are you going to spend it on various streaming platforms, or are you going to get up your butt, leave your house, go to the cinema and watch something? That is the question we will attempt to answer for you on this show.
Let's get ready to rumble!
My name is Tosin and I am the host, and I am based up in a place called Bromsgrove in the middle of the United Kingdom. And joining me on the Isle of Wight, as always, is Sean Harris.
Hello.
And also joining me on the Isle of Wight is Sharon Bolland.
Hello.
And also from London, from the middle of a bar, as is her wont, because she is a social butterfly, it is our London correspondent, Holly Nesling.
Hello.
All right, we've just finished having, a rant, which is probably going to end up on our Instagram channel. It might be in bits because it was a bit long, about Wuthering Heights. Wuthering Heights, which is just dominating all of the conversation, even though the film isn't here yet. And yeah, as I said last week, you can find it on our Instagram channel, find it on our YouTube channel. I think Emerald Fennell is a marketing genius and has us all exactly where she wants us. but enough of that. You find that on YouTube. But first of all, let's kick off with the things that we've seen this week, because what we do on this show is go to the cinema, watch a couple of things, rate them out of 5, and do the same thing at home, rate them out of 5, and then see where money has been better spent this week, and therefore where your money will be better spent this week. So let's kick off with you, Sean. Sean, you are the sort of like, the vanguard for cinema over here. You are there's something new, I must hunt it down and watch it. What have you seen in the cinema this week?
Well, there hadn't been huge amounts new that I haven't really seen, so
which is why I came to you.
I don't know. Hamnet doesn't interest me really.
Yeah.
But, I did see Iron Lung. I did go to see Iron Lung.
Iron Lung,
which I saw at the cinema. On streaming, I've started watching Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Oh, yeah.
There's still a couple of episodes to go, and Fallout. So, but I haven't finished watching that yet. So, streaming-wise, and I have watched quite a lot of stuff on YouTube, and I've watched a bit of football to boot as well.
The football. Always the football. All right, cool. So we've got Iron Lung and nothing completed yet on streaming or anything like that. I've got to get back to Fallout Season 2. I started watching it, then the kids walked in, and I was like, you can't watch this with kids around. No. So it's like, all right. And Sharon, how about you? What have you seen? Cinema
I've been catching up with the cinema. So this week I have seen Shelter.
Yes.
And I have seen also Iron Lung.
Ooh. Oh, Sharon, you've also seen Iron Lung. Yes. Yeah. Shelter, as we put up on... Sorry, it's one of my favorite shorts that we've done, and that we put it to Instagram, and we put it to where Sean and I were just talking about the fact that it's a Jason Statham movie. That's what we need to know. and I think Sharon, you found that on YouTube, and you commented. You commented that. What was your comment again that you said that?
Well, when I was chatting to one of the chaps who works in the cinema before I went in, and he happened to be literally outside the screening when I came out, and he said, "Oh, so how was it?" I said, "Well, it's the Statham. You know exactly what you're going to get."
100%. It's a Jason Statham movie. We're not straight from the formula because people keep paying. And,
you know
yes,
exactly what you're going to get. I said it's just the Statham.
Yeah, and we actually had we had somebody else who also independently came onto our channel and onto the same video that you'd reacted to, and said pretty much the same thing. And this I think this encapsulates, I think, the whole Jason Statham thing. He goes, it's not really a diss or a compliment, followed by 3 crying, laughing faces. Nearly all the movies are good, yet they're basically the same film.
You know exactly what you're getting,
and
you're not disappointed because he delivers.
Yeah, and it's
going to be improbable. You know the plot is going to be beside the point.
Yep.
He's going to kick some people. He's going to shoot some people, and he's probably going to save the innocent at some point.
That's it. Talk in a low voice.
Talk in a low voice with really weird pronunciation.
and his name is very similar because it's like Mason. So every now and then they go Mason, and you're thinking, are they just calling Jason?
Yeah.
because you might as
Jason,
well.
Grayson, I didn't know. It's funny, but that was from a guy, somebody called Tai Kai Mo on YouTube. So thank you very much. But I think that's sort of like where everybody goes, yeah, it is the same film. It is kind of a bit stupid, but everybody still has like a sort of soft spot for it. All right, cool.
It's a British version of it. We don't often see Jason Statham rampaging around Scotland and the north of England and London. Normally he's more exotic places. So
100%.
He's like the British equivalent of John Wick, I guess.
Yeah, he's come home. So I'm like, he's bringing his mayhem home. So what's not to love, really?
Oh, on about that, and I was thinking, because you said Mason, I did watch. There was something I watched on Amazon, which was called Killer Elite with James Caan and Robert Duvall, which I'd seen before.
The original Killer Elite, which also got remade with
Statham,
Jason Statham.
So I did watch the original because I hadn't seen it for a while, and I did enjoy it much the same because I love Paul Hopkins. So.
Yeah, cool. Okay, good stuff. And so Sharon, there was nothing at home, was there?
At home, no. I'm midway through. I'm midway through Small Profits.
Okay.
And Salt Marsh, is it called?
Under Salt Marsh.
Under Salt Marsh, and there was something else.
But don't worry. Let us know when you finish, because one of our rules on here is that if you're going to bring something from streaming up against something from cinema, because cinema it's hopefully an entire story that you watch. So when you watch something at home and you're going to rate it out of 5, you want to rate the entire story. So you watch the entire season before we come in here and talk about it. All right, Holly, how about you? Cinema and home viewing.
So cinema, I have seen 92 which I know we have already reviewed. And as you know, I really didn't like it. And it turns out that Timothée Chalamet is noir in film.
Timothée Chalamet is your kryptonite. Yes.
It really is. Then at home, I have watched series 1 and 2 of Patience, Megan 2.0, which we have obviously already reviewed in the cinema, but is now available on Sky for streaming. And what else have I watched? I've watched many other things. We'll limit it to that, though, because those are the ones I can actually remember.
Okay, good stuff. We will keep it there. But those are the things that okay. And I went to the cinema and I saw Send Help, which we reviewed last week. Sean reviewed that last week. And I've started watching a show. I've almost finished it. I am there's 10 episodes. I am at the end of the 9th one, and then a kid spoke to me, and so I'm stuck. But this might not be all bad. Because seeing as we only have one thing in the cinema this week, it might not be all bad because it's something that Holly, you particularly, I would love to see what you think about it. Because
what did you think, Toes? What did you think
about what? Okay, no, I'm not talking. I'm talking about Madam on Netflix.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
I'm talking about. It's a show called Madam on Netflix with Rachel Griffiths, which has a similar premise to a film I think, Sharon, you reviewed a while back with Sally Phillips about this woman who is in Australia and ends up starting up a brothel.
What Women Want or something?
I can't remember what it was called. It wasn't How to Have Sex.
Something. She sets up this. She's sort of cleaning, sort of personal. Yes.
Yeah, and
personal, yeah.
men who go around to clean people's houses, and then they can offer extra services on the side.
Okay, cool. This is totally different, but this is actually based on a true. This is based on the true story because it's based in New Zealand, and the whole idea is that in New Zealand, prostitution is legal. Like it's legal to have a brothel and everything like that. And then this woman decides to open an ethical brothel, and it's based on a true story of a woman an American woman who was in New Zealand who did exactly this. And I think it's hilarious. And I think that there is obviously there's a female empowerment thing going through there. There's stuff that's going on in this show about the way, women and their bodies and everything like that I haven't seen anywhere else before, maybe just because I haven't been looking. And as funny as I think it is, it's one that I think, Holly, you'd like, and Sharon, I'm not sure I could recommend to you. It's a bit graphic. It's a bit.
Touch baldy.
Is it what? It's yes. Let's use that name. That's the word. It is a touch bawdy. It is a touch bawdy, and but it is hilarious. And I also watched the Muppet Show because the Muppet Show they have tried to they've done a special Muppet Show with Sabrina Carpenter. Like, essentially, they've gone back to the way the Muppet Show used to be, like the vaudeville theater, the whole thing, Kermit coming in and introducing acts and all that kind of stuff. And they've done a one-off of this with Sabrina Carpenter, which they pretty much say in the Muppet Show as well. They're like that. This is pretty much a pilot, and if this is received well, they're going to bring the Muppet Show back, like the way the Muppet Show used to be. And yeah, and I saw that earlier today as well. So with that, is that the only new thing that we've spoken about that we've seen at home? Holly, what did you say?
Patience.
What was that?
Patience, which I don't think I've reviewed.
Okay, cool. Which you don't think you reviewed? We
That's
might
the
be...
channel for where the
Yes.
lady detective who's autistic or
That
some
is
such
correct.
thing.
Yes.
Then what I say we do is that we go Iron Lung and then we go the Muppet Show.
Okay.
And
Sounds
then we can go feedback on what we saw. So I can talk about what I thought about Send Help, and other films that Sharon caught up with. Shelter, yeah.
I did catch up with the last week, because I wasn't here in the last week's show.
Yeah.
I did watch H is for Hawk.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I did catch up with another thing that we've already reviewed, which is Hamnet, which we've reviewed.
Yep.
So
yep.
last week I did Hamnet and H is for Hawk, and this week it was Shelter and Iron Lung.
All right, cool. Let's see how much time we have after all the time we've already burnt. So let us kick off with Iron Lung, and let's talk about Iron Lung. Sharon, tell us about Iron Lung.
Iron Lung is a film I knew nothing about before I went to see it. I regarded this as my personal secret screening, because I went to see it without having the faintest idea what it was about. I just thought, we haven't reviewed that, that'll do.
Yeah.
It is based on a game I've never heard of and never played. And it is about, if in the future, unknown date, but in the future, humanity has been devastated by catastrophe and events. And there's a small pocket of humanity in the deepest, darkest space. And they are trying to explore different moons to see if there's any salvation for humanity.
Mm.
And there's one man we know him at the beginning as convict. We see him. He is in a sealed submersible type vehicle, and he's under the surface of a planet, a moon, where the surface looks like blood. It's like this red viscous stuff, and he's got to go down there because he has to, and he's got to find something because he has to, and he's doing things that remind you of gameplay. So they're certainly sort of quite episodic. He's sealed in this chamber.
Yeah.
But there's like, he has like a book of instructions, and he looks at these instructions every now and then. He's like, there's a button on the wall. He has to push the button, and it takes a picture of the outside, which tells him where he is in this landscape. And when it reminded me a little bit, because I don't play games at all, and I played the very first Tomb Raider. I played it for about half an hour, because all I ended up doing is running around in circles, and I didn't know what to do.
I did that with San Andreas Fault thing. The police come and got me, and I never even got out the room. I just kept bumping in.
I never got
Grand
past
Theft Auto.
I never got past her sort of grunting and running around going, ooh, ooh. And I was just like, is that it? And so in this, he sort of walks up and he has to push this button. So it reminded me very much that I thought that must be straight out of the game.
Yeah.
Where you take these pictures. And then when he's down there looking for, I don't know what he's looking for, I can't remember. He's looking for something.
Skeleton, isn't it?
And they sees a skeleton through the window. It takes a picture of a skeleton. And he's got some like controllers who are up above on the surface, and they want him to find something. But he sort of wanders about, he does stuff, peril, danger, flashing lights. And things happen. So really, it reminded me of some sort of classic science fiction. I could see the guy who made it it was an independent film, which I always like to support. It gave me nods to things like Moon, where you've got like this claustrophobic atmosphere, you've got a limited cast. It's all about slightly psychological. You don't know what's outside this capsule. You don't know what the
Solaris kind of thing.
Solaris, yeah. And I thought a little bit, tiny bit of silent running, where you get that claustrophobia, you've got that man on his own. is what he's experiencing real? Is he hallucinating? Are there some other influences in what he's experiencing? So I thought there were some nice touches, there's some nice nods towards classic science fiction. As towards the plot, I didn't really know what was going on. And at the end, to be honest with you, when I finished it, I actually came away and looked up what the ending was all about because I couldn't quite work out what had gone on. I was like, what was that all about? And so I appreciated it, and I was sort of applaud them for wanting to make it. In terms of plot and engagement, I didn't find I was terribly engaged with it because I was like, what it was all about. And they had flashbacks to certain things, which, again, I thought it was like gameplay where you get like the video clip in between.
Oh yeah,
running about and doing stuff.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of those sort of segments you get between things, which was supposed to fill in some backstory.
The cutscenes.
It didn't really feel, to me, it didn't really add a lot of flesh to the story, but it was interesting. I sort of applauded some aspects of it, but I didn't find it terribly engaging in terms of character or plot. But what did you think, Shawnee?
Yeah.
Okay, for me, I found it quite interesting to start with. As I say, I'm not a gamer at all in any way, shape, or form. So, and I mean, but I liked some aspects of it, and I did actually like when the photographs were taken. I did that bit I quite enjoyed, and it was very claustrophobic. I'll agree, but I agree with you. The flashbacks they didn't make much sense, did they? It was something that happened in the past, and that's why he was going down. That's why they called him convict and whatever. But it's like, so yeah, I totally agree. You never knew what was real, whether it was hallucination, whether he was hearing things, or because he has like conversations with a couple of people, isn't it? Because there's like another, apparently, maybe he's one on the picture. He sees another craft down there, which maybe they sent down before. So. And he has a little bit of communication with the surface sometimes. So you don't really know. I agree with Sharon. You don't really know what's real and what's not. For me, I mean, I didn't mind this. I thought it was okay. But then I did find it getting a little bit long. I don't know about you, Sharon. I think towards maybe after about, I don't know,
when he was lost in this tunnel bit, when they kept plotting the chart around the tunnel, I was where is this all going? I can't. Yeah. Again, it felt like it was probably a lift from the game where you have to navigate through this tunnel wall, this labyrinth, and it was a bit.
Okay, quick question to everybody. So, what do you think about films like that? Films like, when it comes up there and you don't know whether something is real. It's like, is it real? It's in his head? Ooh. Because whenever I hear that usually puts me right off. And it really puts me right off, and the film has to be excellent for me to like that. But if it's one of these things, you don't really know what's real, I just want to sign off, and I say, no, stupid, get lost. Yeah. I mean, what do you guys think?
Sometimes it's an excuse for not having a proper storytelling.
100%.
Yeah.
So it's the lack of probably, I don't know, maybe they were sticking too faithfully to the game because I just don't know the game. Yeah. But it doesn't help really unless it's coherent and it ties in with the story. It's all about the storytelling.
So I did like the aspects of I did like, I would have been more intrigued if they'd have spent a little bit more time on what you're seeing on the photographs, because there was the couple of times when you see that what could be a face.
And you're like, what's that? Yeah.
Where's that going? And then that suddenly doesn't. So there's this like thing you think, oh, is that a creature with like some sort of weird thing?
Yeah, something outside. Yes,
something outside. So I would have maybe liked to have seen a little bit more about that. But so that's really my take on it. Sorry, Toes, you were going to say something.
No. That was it. That was about it. I just wanted to find out whether you felt like this was. Yeah, but I think you answered the question as to whether you thought it was that annoying or anything. So okay, first of
No, I was going to say, and as for seeing it at the cinema, I think this is a film you would have to see at the cinema, because if I'd seen this on streaming, I probably would have been like distracted, if you know what I mean. I think so.
Yeah, you need to be trapped in there with him.
You need to be trapped in there with him. So so this is one you to get the attention, because you've got nowhere else to go. But there, if I was watching that, there might be a bit, and I might think, oh, what's going on over there?
Yeah, I would have got up and wandered off probably halfway through had I not been committed to being in a dark room with this man in a dark room.
Is it? Okay, that's interesting, because we started doing this question of like, do you think this should you should watch this in the cinema or wait for it to come into streaming. And that's a new wrinkle that I didn't think about. I was just thinking about, is the film good enough to be in the cinema, or do you think you should just wait until streaming? But almost there, from what you're saying, it's not even about how good the film is that to even figure out if the film is good, you need to see it in the cinema, because if you saw it at home, you wouldn't even give it the time of day.
I mean, that was like we spoke the other day about The Green Knight, was it? With I
The
think
Green
if
Knight,
I'd have seen that at the cinema, I probably would have enjoyed it more. But it was a little bit long, and I became a little bit distracted. So that is a difference between cinema and streaming, I think.
Cool. So how many stars would you give Iron Lung?
Probably 3-star, I would think. Pretty much down the middle. I mean, I didn't hate it or anything, but I didn't think it was a masterpiece. So fairly average 3.
I would probably go a little bit lower. I would go 2.5, 2.75, I think.
Right.
So I would drop it down, just because I thought, in terms of plot and characterization, it was sort of a little bit by painted by numbers. It's
yeah.
It left a little bit lacking as far as I was concerned in terms of.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's a bit of. I think it's a bit of a labor of love, because I think the guy who you see in screen also wrote and directed it.
Do you know what it reminded me of a little bit remotely was, do you remember Mad God, when I spoke about Mad God?
Yeah, I remember you spoke about Mad God, yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit like that. Little bit sort of the actual submersible bit, the actual when it was going down, that reminded me, I thought. And especially when they find what could have been another sub, I was thinking, perhaps this is like that, where they keep sending people down.
All right, cool, good stuff, man. Which was on Shudder, and I don't think it ever showed up anywhere else. So you either watched that on Shudder or you didn't watch it at all. All right, cool. So that is good. So 2.875 then for Iron Lung in the cinemas. And now I think the only thing that we really had, because I'm looking through everything, I think it was the Muppet Show, because we're keeping Patience season 1 and 2 till next week, and we're also pushing Madam till next week, which is Sharon, okay, I'm not sure. I know you watched Harlots, right?
Yes.
And I feel like this might almost be like
Harlots.
Yeah, you liked Harlots, so maybe I'm being a bit too. Okay, I'll tell you what, right? Watch like 2 episodes of Madam on Netflix and let me know what you think.
Right.
If you don't want to watch any more than that, then please stop. but if you watch that and you think, I'm getting on with this, because I do think
when I was in my policing days, I used to be, because I don't know why, but they seem to think I was like the most emotionally sensitive person in the room. But someone complained about like public obscenity, and so they sent me up the road to have a look, so that if I was offended, then they would like no matter. And so I had to go up the road, and there's a few like slightly saucy pictures, and they said, "Oh, send her up." And so I was sent up the road to look at these dodgy pictures to see if I regarded them as being, if it corrupted me morally. If I came back feeling like, feeling slightly, tainted by the experience,
it's like
then it was like a crime.
If you got your hanky out and were asked for smelling salts, it was a crime.
If I'd cut my... So I have a reputation for and actually I thought they were both funny, so I had to go back and say, no, I don't believe these are criminal offences. In terms of, I was not offended by them.
Okay,
you didn't swoon at the sight.
No, I didn't like. One of them I walked past, I was like, "Is that the picture I'm supposed to be morally offended by?" And twice I was sent up as like the canary to see if I passed out.
Sharon. I really want you to watch Madam now. I really want you to watch Madam.
I'm like, you're a moral canary. So if I pass out, I'm like the bottom of the cage.
I really want you to watch it.
Interesting with Wuthering Heights then, isn't it? Because isn't that supposed to be a little bit...
That's supposed to be quite saucy. That's supposed to be quite saucy. It's like, I think it was, they had Margot Robbie... They had Margot Robbie on Radio 1, on the Radio 1 breakfast show with Greg James. And his review, the first thing he said was, horny from the off.
Right.
That's the way.
So Emily Bronte, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah. It's. Hey. I think we're going to get a peek into Emerald Fennell's head, and it's pink. So let us go to. Okay, we're going to go to stuff and things. And okay, so just so you don't know, I mean, Holly is laughing her head off, but she is on mute. So So you can't hear any of it. We can just get the videos of Holly's face cracking up. Right, let us go on to The Muppet Show. The Muppet Show, this is Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, who have become like super producers after they produced the studio last year. And they have essentially gone and they've said, okay, we have this idea for the Muppet Show. We want, because the Muppet Show has tried a whole bunch of different things over the years. You had the movies, they had a TV show, which I thought was one of the best ones. It was called The Muppets, which people didn't seem to like, but it was kind of like behind the scenes of like a late night talk show, and it was called Late Night with Miss Piggy, and I thought it was a very clever updating of the Muppet Show formula, because Kermit was like the producer of Miss Piggy's show, and he's trying to put this thing on and get all the celebrity guests each week, and I thought it was really, really good. It's still available on Disney Plus. But people didn't seem to like it. And now Seth Rogen has come up and said, we've got a great idea for a Muppet Show one-off special. What is it? It's The Muppet Show. And it is The Muppet Show. They're back in the exact same theater that they were in the 70s. It's pretty much the same format of Kermit walking around backstage trying to stop everything from going on. And I think they made a genius decision to have Sabrina Carpenter as the guest, because Sabrina Carpenter has a kid's performance background, and even Sabrina Carpenter's, I mean, you might know who she is. She's a pop star and everything like that. Even her public persona, her on-stage persona, it is a bit vaudeville. It is larger than life. It is like, I think with Sabrina Carpenter, you're always aware she's playing a character that happens to have the same name as her that you find on her birth certificate. It's kind of like she's, and there's even lines in it where she meets Miss Piggy and she's like, "Oh my God, Miss Piggy, I'm so good. I'm not sure if you noticed, but I stole my entire look from you." and Miss Piggy's like, "Oh yes, of course, yeah, definitely." And then she's like, "Oh yeah, but I watched you when I was a kid. My mom watched you when she was a kid. My grandparents watched." And Miss Piggy's, all right. And I think they've done this whole thing where they've brought it back, and honestly, it feels like they never went away. I mean, Waldorf and Statler are still there. They're making some jokes I think I've heard them make before about the whole thing, about how much they hate the show, and they're still as. But it still works because it's Waldorf and Statler. You still have Kermit where he's wondering why there's so many acts backstage and they're all trying to get up on stage. And Scooter is still there as his assistant, going, "Well, boss, you told them all they could do it." He was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Oh, well, every time somebody said they wanted to do a show, you said, 'Oh, that sounds fun,' and they just took it to mean, yeah, that means he's accepted it." So they have this running thing throughout the whole thing that they have too many acts, and then they have to cut all these different acts. And there's a running gag with Miss Piggy where they cut one of her acts. And you can imagine how she takes it.
Oh, yeah.
You can imagine how Miss Piggy takes it. And I think that they've done this brilliantly. They have a Bridgerton's, and they've done that whole thing with the Muppets as well, where the Muppets, you look at them and on the surface you think it's for kids. But then you hear some of the jokes and you're like, that's not for kids. but it's done in such a way that it would totally go over a kid's head. Like there's a bit where Kermit goes to Sabrina Carpenter and tells Sabrina Carpenter, "Yeah, I'm sorry the show is a bit rough this night. We're still working out the kinks." And she goes, "It's okay. I love a kink."
Yeah.
and Kermit makes a face, and I'm like, I'm watching this with my kids. I'm like, they don't have a clue what that was.
No.
They do not understand what that was. But I thought it was quite good. So I think they did this. They've done this so well, and the way they've brought everything back, and I just had a big goofy grin on my face right from the dum 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 dum. It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. I was like, yes, yes, yes. We are back. And I'm not sure whether it's just nostalgia speaking, but I thought this was really funny. I thought it was a really funny half hour. I thought it was great. I thought they've done brilliantly. I would give this a 4 out of 5. And I'm all for the Muppets being back. I'm all for the Muppets being back. So if you can watch it, it's just, so if you type in the Muppet Show into Disney Plus, public service announcement, it will bring up two things. It will bring up one that says 1976. That is the original Muppet Show, where you can watch all 5 seasons of the original Muppet Show. And another one, okay, bye, Holly. Bye, go watch the Muppet Show. And it'll bring up another one where it just says 2026. Watch the 2026 version. That's the one with Sabrina Carpenter. That's the one where I think it's pretty much a pilot to see whether they're going to bring the Muppets back. And on the evidence of this, they have the secret formula that means that the Muppets are going to work, and therefore it would feel right for the Muppets to be back, and it would not feel like a cynical cash grab like almost everything that Disney does nowadays feels like. Sorry, Sean.
How did the little ones like it?
Oh, I paused it at one point on and Kemi, my older daughter, was like, "Oh, can we keep playing it? She liked it. She really liked it.
Good.
She liked it. I mean, you had Gonzo. Gonzo showed up and did his thing.
Was Animal a Muppet?
Oh, Animal is not only a Muppet. Animal is my spirit Muppet. I'm an animal.
What about Chef?
Oh, the chef, yes. The Swedish chef shows up. He doesn't have like a sketch or anything like that, but the Swedish chef does show up. The Swedish chef just show. Essentially, all of your favorites are there. Like, you know, the house band, Dr. Teeth. Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, they're back. It's like Rolf on the piano, he's back. All of it, it's like, no, it's honestly like they've just taken the set from the 70s, plunked it into modern day, filmed it in HD, and it's great. It's great. So I would give the Muppet Show Revival 4 out of 5. I'll say go watch it. It is half an hour. It goes by before you know it, and it is glorious. It is so good to see them back. Right, cool. And that is it for what we're talking about. So we're just gonna do let's get the formalities out of the way. Who do you think has won this week?
Streaming.
Yep, streaming has won this week. We don't have to do anything much about that. But now let us go on to sort of like feedback reviews, where we go and talk about the things that we've seen already, that we've already reviewed, but by that time maybe only one of us had seen it. So now we're going to start off with H is for Hawk. I had seen that. I spoke about it. I said, Sharon, I want to see what you think when you see it, because I didn't really get what the film was trying to tell me. What did you think?
No, I really liked it. I thought it took elements from the book, because the book is quite complex, because it talks about how other people have trained hawks throughout history. So it references a lot of books, and one writer in particular, the writer of White, who wrote Once and Future King and Sword in the Stone, and he had a miserable experience trying to raise Goshawk, and he did everything wrong. And so there's parallels between her training Mabel and him training Goz. So that all gone. So it's a focus very much on Helen and her experience with Mabel.
Yeah.
But it's a parallel story about grief.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the most moving, because it shows her, how she does lose herself in Mabel, because she had to find something to hold on to. And sort of work didn't feel real, and her friends didn't feel real, and her family didn't feel real. So this was the one thing that she had to anchor herself against. And in some ways, she did lose herself in Mabel, because the rest of the world was just feeling a little bit, without her dad there anchoring everything. And there's that foundation that she built her life on. Everything was out of kilter. So that was the one thing that she had that was real. So I understood that idea of grief. And how at the end, it doesn't really end, because grief doesn't end. It does, like when time goes by and you find a new normal, but you never go back to what it was like before. So I like the fact that there's this sort of rise and fall of a story, but there's no ending to it, because grief doesn't have an ending. It doesn't have an end date. So I really appreciated that. And I liked actually the reference to Julian of Norwich, because I do like Julian of Norwich, and those sort of her the revelations of divine love, and her showings, or shewings as they are called, and that they do reference at the end, one of the most famous ones, which was I like the but they didn't have the but it's like, all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. And how it does tie into that idea of that life is this, you have this sorrow, you have this sadness, you have these highs, you have these lows, but all shall be well. So I like that idea that this was used, you get a glimpse of a period of her life.
Yep.
But the life carried on, there's life before and there's life after the film. This was like a window. So okay. I really rated it. I thought it was really well done. It sort of showed a real understanding of what grief was like, and a real understanding of how this woman really sort of went through this experience. And you have this sort of amazing shots, as you see it, I said, of the hawk, flying and hunting and being in its own sort of existence,
in its own element. Yeah, its own element. Yeah. So I think if you understood about 70% of what Sharon said, H's for Hawk might be for you. But so to answer the question, to ask the question of like, do you think see it in cinemas or wait for it to come on streaming at home? What would you think?
I think you could see either. I think it's I don't think it was cinematic in that. I think it's one that you probably could do with giving it your attention. But I think you could watch it at home. You could watch it at home.
Yeah, that was the conclusion I came to as well with that. All right, cool. And I saw Send Help. Yesterday. Now, Sean reviewed this last week, and Sean really, really liked Send Help. And I can see why you really liked it. I can see why you really like. There is, I mean, there were some references that you said, like, Hell in the Pacific or Enemy Mine or anything like that. And it is kind of like that. Only that I think in those films, you had two people who were kind of competent and surviving on a desert plate. This one, you only have one competent person. Yeah. you have one competent person and one person who has probably, never been more than 50 feet from a Starbucks or something like that. So it's, and obviously on the desert island and all that. I thought it was quite good. I thought that they did I thought the characterizations, because I think characterizations is the main thing in this film as to how it goes. And I feel the first time you meet these two characters, almost everything you know about them is in those scenes. And as it carries all the way through to the end of the film, it's very true to the characters you first meet. So, like, even with Rachel McAdams' character, where the first time you meet her, she's in an office and she's being put upon, and everybody looks at her as the dowdy person in the corner, and they think that she's disgusting because she brings tuna sandwiches in and eats them at her desk and stinks the whole place out and has it on her face. And some people kind of say, like, oh, it's kind of like, when you take a beautiful actress and you put some glasses on her and trying to say, oh yeah, now she's ugly and she's hideous. But I don't think that wasn't quite. I think they did really well to say that this is. Imagine if Rachel McAdams in real life didn't really care about her appearance and let herself go a bit. That's what that's what I got. It could be but she doesn't flourish until she gets to the desert island. And she gets into her element and she feels like, now I'm the boss. And the bits where the film goes, some of them I don't really know whether I could say I could see it coming. I don't really say I was come as to okay, because it becomes a battle of wills, and who wins this battle of wills? I feel like I was kind of like, well, it kind of makes sense that person would. But they do enough, like, that okay, this other person, this is the skills that they're going to use, this is how they're going to try and win it, and I think it's quite good. There are some bits where the film goes dark. There are bits where the film goes dark.
I think they worked well together though. The two.
Yep. Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien
worked really good. They convinced me, and even when the chap was sort of trying to be not, yes. Like, oh yeah, okay, yes. I'm gonna concede. I'm gonna be really good. I'm gonna be that. You knew deep down that he wasn't that sort of character, and he was just,
Yeah, but the thing about it is that the film does really, really well at playing with your sympathies as to who you think is in the right at any point in time. You kind of like start thinking, oh yeah, definitely that guy. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, that's a bit. Okay, now I'm on his side. Now, oh wait, okay. Oh no, her side. No. Oh heck no, that's messed up. His side, and you keep jumping back and forth as to who you think. Essentially, who you want to come out on top. It's kind of like you keep jumping back and forth between who you want to come out on top. So I thought Send Help was really good. I thought it was really, really good. I feel like it's like, I think it's just a problem with stories. It's like when you're enjoying these two people sparring and everything like that, you're enjoying seeing how they're trying to get the upper hand on each other. Then at some point, it has to end. And then when the ending comes, you're kind of like a bit like, that wasn't as good as all the sparring and all the fighting.
Now, this is an interesting thing, which I think is, and I've come up with this quite a lot, I think you can be swayed when you go and watch a film if someone's either too enthusiastic about it or too down on it. Because when I've seen, people have been down on a film, all the time, oh yeah, no, it's rubbish, it's all that. And I've actually gone and seen it later. And I thought, well, it's not that bad. In fact, it's pretty good, And then there's other times where that's my fault sometimes. I'm a bit exuberant about a film if I really, really like it, and I can tell people, and then they go and see it and they say, oh, I didn't think it was all that. Do you know what I mean? So I do really think that you're best off to know nothing, like when we went to see Iron Lung or something like that, or when you go to a secret screening, because you don't know. And as Send Help was a secret screening, it was like, whoa. So I think
Yeah, I think I have to admit that is something I do miss because I've spent so much time nowadays. I spend so much time in movie news and everything like that. So I know about films like a year before they come out, and I know what the films are going to. So it's very, very rare, and I almost kind of miss that idea of going to the cinema, sitting down, and being like, "Okay, what the hell is this about?" and not having a clue. And yeah, that I think it would be. I think one of these days I might just do that. Go into the cinema and go, which one of these things do I know the least about? Okay, cool. Let's go see that, and I'll probably end up with a Polish movie.
So what do you think about cinema or streaming?
Oh no, this is a cinema. Sendhelp is a cinema. Sendhelp is a cinematic thing all the way. Yeah. It's like you want to be there. You want to be there with a group of people. You want to be there's a bit that involves a knife, and there's a bit that involves a knife, and then putting the knife into the flames. And just the collective intake of breath of everybody in the cinema going, oh no, oh my God, ah! So like that, the collective intake of breath of that's what you want to do. You want to have that's sort of like weird sense of connection with other human beings. If you let me be a little bit highfalutin for a second. All right, cool. And then the other film we're going to talk about is Hamnet. So Hamnet, Sharon, you saw that. What did you think?
Yes, I saw it. Unlikely most of these sort of book adaptations. I hadn't read Hamnet. So again, it was a little bit, didn't know quite what it was going to be. But though I thought it was, lived up to much of its hype, I think, because the performances, I think, were very good. Yep. I thought the setting of place was what I really liked the most was the costuming. And to be honest with you, some of the detailing. One of the dresses I was watching, I think it was when Emily Watson.
Yeah, it's Emily Watson who plays Shakespeare's mum. Yeah,
Emily Watson. You could see her chemise, how they had like a hand-rouched it and how it was sewn. And I was looking at that thinking, that's good.
It was bad as me, Sharon, for authenticity.
I really like those touches. And some of the touches I was just like, yes, that look, that silhouette, the fabrics. I was just like, yeah. And I thought I did like that, the fact that sometimes they wore the same clothes. You change your undergarments, but they're outer clothes. Yeah. You have the same. It was you literally had probably two dresses, and that you last those for years and years and years. You would just change your underlinen, and so I was just like, yeah, the look of it, I was sort of cracking. I don't know. Again, it's one of those stories. I don't know how. I know they lost a son, but I don't know how accurate it is. So I was just going by what I saw. But though I enjoyed the story, I thought it was engaging. It was moving in the right places. Didn't turn up. I think sometimes they can be manipulative, these sort of films.
Yep.
And so there was. I think for me it just shied the right side of manipulation. You know when it was like, okay, cry here, and you know when it's a bit like, oh, this is a sad bit. You could tell that's coming, but I felt that it shied just short of being overly manipulative in those.
Yeah, because I felt it went just the other side of being manipulative.
The other side of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So but there's two bits where you're thinking probably the whole they probably had the same experience. There's one scene where the two children were very poorly, and you know that you keep saying, look at the other one, and we know the story because we know what it's called, Hamnet. So when they're worried about Judith, it's like look to Hamnet. You can see that little boy does not look well. So there's things that you're thinking, I know it's sort of being.
Yeah, because most of the film is imagined. Most of the film is imagined, and so yeah. Because of that, I did butt up against that. I really did butt up against that because I was just kind of like, you're choosing the most emotional, most heartbreaking, most manipulative version of the story.
Yeah,
that was my feeling.
Yeah, because I don't know the history that well of Anne. They call it Agnes Hathaway in here, but we know as Anne Hathaway mainly, don't we?
Yeah.
Whether she was such a free spirit as she's portrayed in this, I would have thought if she was more of a woman of her time and of her class, I would imagine her to have been slightly more restrained in her behaviour. But she was a bit freer than I would have expected. But again, I was happy to go with this is a piece of fiction rather than a historically accurate depiction of their lives.
Yeah.
But no, I thought it was good. I thought. Yes. verging into melodrama at times, but for me, it sort of steered just the right side of it for me to cope with it. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good, on the whole, I would give it a positive review. I wouldn't say it was the best film of the year.
Not the Oscar winner then.
Well, I think probably the acting probably deserved credits.
Yeah. Because everybody seems to think that that Jessie Buckley is a shoo-in for Best Actress.
Yeah, no, I thought she did very well. But to me, it's like, I didn't know if I rated H's for Hawk, but I would, if I was given my star rating now, I would give Hamnet something like 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably where I would put it. I enjoyed it very much. I thought it was a step up above the average, but I would still say it was, certainly worth seeing. But I wouldn't say it was the best film of the year. Yeah. But I did enjoy it.
Yeah. Cool.
Sinners, best film of the year.
Well, apparently people are saying that Sinners is between Sinners and One Battle After Another, and that those are the two front runners for the thing. And I don't know, until the Oscars is over, I'm on edge, and I'm just prepared to go march if Sinners doesn't win. That's the thing.
For me, I would give H's for Hawk. I didn't give it a square. I would probably give that a 4 for me.
All right. Cool. Good stuff. All right. So I think that is it for us from this week. And until next week, when Sean will be in Japan, and I guess the only thing we have to watch is Wuthering Heights. We have to somehow watch that film and see if the hype is justified one way or another. See if the hype is just if the outrage hype is justified, if the prestige hype is justified, essentially if this film justifies its existence one way or another. But until next week, it is a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me.
Are you going to see Wuthering Heights, Toes?
Oh yeah, I have to.
You have to, yeah.
I have to, yeah. It's like, this is a Millennium movie. I'm definitely going to have to see it. But anyway.
Oh, yeah, Milana.
Thank you very much for joining us.
See you later.